Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. I am so excited to bring you this video because we're going to be talking about your soulmate fish. Yes, that is right. The fish that matches your personality. Maybe you are a happy-go-lucky person. We've got fish for you. Maybe sometimes you get a little bit angry. We have some angry fish, or maybe some fish that are chilled out. Yes, we're going to have a lot of different types of fish, and they are going to range from little tiny ones all the way up to your monster fish for each category. Hope you enjoy the video. I would love to hear from you in the comments section below. What are your favorite fish from each one of these personality types? Thanks for being here. All right, so I wanted to start with our high energy fish in case you're a high energy person, but you've got a small tank. Maybe the Endlers are for you. In fact, a lot of the live bears are going to be great choices. The Endler stays very small. You can put them in a 5-gallon, 10, 20 gallons, even better because of their high energy level. And oh, by the way, if you want more information on a lot of the fish featured in this video, check out the description below. We'll have tons of species profiles for you there if you want more information on how to care for them or potentially how to breed them. But for sure, Endlers full of energy. And then of course you've got guppies, much like the Endler, just a little bit larger, again full of color, going to be really awesome. And both of these fish are going to be peaceful. If you want to step it up and have a little bit of a larger fish, you've got the platies, just like the other two, full of color, full of energy. Now maybe you don't want live bears, and that's where the rainbow fish come in. Again, this is a fish that is going to be open water, relatively peaceful. We got the dwarf rainbows like you're seeing here. In this 125, we've got larger rainbows with some dwarf rainbows mixed in. But these are fish that are usually going to be on the move. Keep them in large groups. Dwarf rainbows, as long as you've got a 20-gallon, you're fine. For the larger rainbows that are going to get 4 inches or so like you're seeing here, a 4-foot tank would be even better. But these guys, full of color, full of energy. The Mbuna are absolutely awesome. An Mbuna only tank, you're looking at a 75-gallon here. These fish, all the time, moving around. Every time you feed them, it's like they've never eaten before. So if you want a really colorful tank with larger fish in that larger aquarium, like I said, at least a 55-gallon, but a 75 would be even better. And then, of course, if you've got the big tanks, check out this fish tank here. This was a 150-gallon. The ballast shark and the tinfoil barb, both shown here. Keep them in larger groups, not like what you see in this particular tank. At least an 8-foot tank of a half a dozen of one of these fish or the other is going to be cool. Always on the move, always looking for food, and also very aggressive eaters. Now, if you're a happy, silly person, I think you might really enjoy the Cory cats. I think that they're mostly happy and silly as well. Keep them in groups of at least a half a dozen, and they are going to provide a lot of antics, always get along, always look like they're wagging their little tails. Another option are the gobies and gudgeons. The Empire gudgeon with the red face that you're seeing here. There are smaller peacock gudgeons. These happen to be generally silly fish too that are usually happy, very peaceful. Maybe not the purple spot gobies like the larger ones that you're seeing here, but if you can find some gobies, they're usually pretty silly fish. I'm not sure you can have a conversation about silly fish without talking about the goldfish. They are absolutely silly. I don't care if we've got comet goldfish, common goldfish, or the round goldfish of the various different types. But these are fish that are usually very, very happy, very peaceful. The only thing is you need a larger tank for them. I think a lot of people put them in tanks that are too small. A 40-gallon breeder or larger would be great. Here you're looking at a 75-gallon for these guys right here. But a fish that just is always in a good mood. Next up, for our happy, silly fish, the clown loach. Keep these guys in groups. Here you're just seeing one, but if you can keep them in groups of 4, 5, 6 or more, gonna need a large tank here, at least a 6-foot tank. But these fish have crazy antics. Sometimes you'll see them laying on their sides. They will almost always be found piled up on one another in a cave or behind some rocks. But a very, very silly looking fish that just, if there was ever a fish that was a born comedian, I think the clown loach would have to be right up there. Now there are, of course, the large silly fish, and that is the Oscar. Again, Oscars full of personality. They will come up to you, recognize you. It almost seems like they're playing jokes on people when you come up to them. Sometimes you'll find them laying on their sides just because, well, why not? They're pouting and they've got an attitude problem. But usually very, very happy fish, very silly fish. You'll see them playing with their food, playing with fish tank decorations. If there was ever a definition of a wet pet, something that acts like a dog but is a fish, I think the Oscar would have to rank up there in the top 3 for sure. And don't worry, if you're someone that just wants to chill out, watch fish, relax, well, it's not a fish. But the mystery snail, nearite snails are so relaxing. So if you want something that's just totally chilled out with a very even personality, check out snails. You can just watch them slowly roam around the aquarium. The next one, also still not a fish, shrimp. We've got the Neocaridina in our fish room. The blue dreams are what you're seeing here. This is another organism in a tank that is just going to be so relaxing to watch. You should also consider the pea puffer. The pea puffer is a fish that doesn't provide a ton of energy. It swims very methodically. The eyes move independently of one another, which just makes it have some type of thinking, human thinking quality to it. But it's a very relaxed fish. You're not going to find it just zipping around the tank going back and forth. Every once in a while it'll have a little bit of energy, but for the most part, it absolutely loves to chill out. I don't know if we can have a conversation about fish that are usually chilled out and not talk about a betta. Now, bettas have different personalities, to be sure. Some of them are more active than others, but for the most part, bettas, especially as they age, tend to be relatively chilled out fish that are always thinking about their next move, thinking about where they're going in the aquarium, are relaxed when it's time to eat. So if you're someone who likes to chill out and just watch fish, bettas, that might be a strong option. If you want something a little bit larger that's a really chilled out fish, the leaf tinapoma, they don't get a lot of attention in the hobby, going to max out right around 5 inches or so. Definitely will predate on smaller fish, so be careful there, but not an aggressive fish by any stretch. But the leaf tinapoma is an awesome option. Again, if you're looking for those slightly larger fish, you could consider something like the angelfish. Really great, very relaxed fish. As they get older, they tend to be more stationary. Fish like the angelfish, you could take a look at the severums or even the discus. Now, keep in mind for both severums and discus, and angels for that matter, you're going to need larger tanks, but especially for the severums and discus, at least a 75-gallon, but more likely a 6-foot tank long-term to house a group of them. But they're fish that don't move around a lot, chill out, very relaxing to watch. Now, if you're a serious person and you like your fish to be serious as well, we've got some options for you here. The rock dwellers, this is Juliochromis ornatus, but all of the genus Juliochromis, these tend to be more serious fish. They're not necessarily overly aggressive, but they just seem like they take life a little bit more seriously than a lot of the fish we've talked about so far. Another potential option, you've got the Geophagus. These are great fish, but again, they just look like they're thinking, they're contemplating, that they're taking life very seriously, that they have a life's plan. And there are lots of different types of Geophagus. Most of them need at least a 4-foot tank or larger. You've got the peacock cichlids. These are great fish, but again, an all-male peacock cichlid is best left for someone who is experienced in the fish keeping hobby. These fish can be somewhat aggressive towards one another. I wouldn't call them overly aggressive, but they are certainly fish that are going to be more assertive. So if you're looking for, and the peacocks, what's kind of nice is we're mixing some personalities here. They're going to be relatively active, but they tend to be a more serious fish as well. For our last group, we've got the angry fish. Yes, the angry fish. Now, these angry fish can sometimes come in small packages like the gold ocellatus that you are seeing here. These fish have little fangs. They can certainly go in a 20-gallon aquarium, and when they are breeding, they have been known to attack their owner's hands if you put your hands in the aquarium. They don't do any serious damage. However, they are very angry fish. They can be angry towards one another. They can certainly be angry towards you. So if you want a lot of anger in a small package, I don't think you can go wrong with the gold ocellatus. The red-tailed shark is another fish that seems to have always woken up on the wrong side of the bed. These fish are usually aggressive, and they get more aggressive as they age. Gonna need at least a 4-foot tank for them, and stocking options are critical with this fish as they get into those teenage and adult years where they show a lot more aggression. And let's just talk about probably the fish that is the most angry pretty much all the time, and that's the dovii. You could only put this fish by itself in a very large tank of at least 8 feet long. Probably best to have a tank that's at least 2.5 to 3 feet wide. This is a very angry fish, and if you just want one single angry fish, the dovii is probably your fish, but maybe you don't have a tank quite that large. Maybe you've got a 6-foot tank. A lot of your large South and Central American cichlids fit that role. Like here, you're looking at the Midas cichlid. This is another one that can be pretty angry. You could also think about the Jack Dempsey, and even some of the cichlids from Madagascar, like this Pollini. This can be a very angry fish as well. So for sure, I did not cover all the fish in all of these categories, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a sampling of fish that have different personality types. And I really want to hear from you. What types of fish are your favorite in each one of these personalities? Again, we have lots of species profiles down in the description for you if you want to check out more information on the fish featured in this video. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.